Hello everyone, you are watching SQL for data analysts and data scientists, and as this is lecture number one in this series, so let's start with the current topic, which will be all about just an introduction to SQL, okay? And so, as you guys know, most of the data around the world is stored in databases. Okay, there are various databases. So, learning how to extract data from and turn this data into information or insights is one of the useful professional skills, especially for data analysts and data scientists. Or there can be many other job titles. I have just named a couple of them. So before we dive deep into SQL or transact SQL, let's first, just understand, what is SQL. Some say SQL and some says SQL, and basically it stands for Structured Query Language, S for structured, Q for query, and alpha language. And SQL is used to communicate with a database, and there are different databases, and they have some little bit tweaks done. Some additional functionalities have been created over the years, but the base is SQL. Okay, if you know SQL, it will be easy for you to know, for example, transact SQL. So, according to American National Standard Institution, it is a standard language for relational database management systems. Okay, just remember that. Now, because I will be using Microsoft SQL Server or SQL Server, and I will show you which tool I'm going to use from Microsoft. Just let's know first of all a little bit about Microsoft SQL Server. And it's a relational database management system developed by Microsoft. As a database server, it is a software product with the primary function of storing and retrieving data as requested by other software applications, okay, which may run either on the same computer or on any other computer across a network, and that includes the internet as well. So, as you might be aware, that Microsoft markets at least a dozen different editions of Microsoft SQL Server aimed at different audiences and for workloads ranging from small single machine applications to large internet facing applications with many concurrent users. And the need for each sector, is filled. So now what is Transact SQL? Just I'm just giving you a little bit of introduction about it, because as we will move in this course, you will come across all these terminologies. So I want to just give you an introduction. So TSQL, or Transact SQL, is a set of programming extensions from Sybase and Microsoft that add several features to this structured query language, or SQL, and including transaction control, exception and error handling, row processing, and declared variables. All applications that communicate with the SQL Server do so by sending TSQL or Transact SQL statements to the server, and then these Transact SQL queries include the select statements, selecting columns, labeling output columns, restricting rows, and modifying a search condition. And also, you would like to know that it's important to understand that the SQL or Transact SQL identifiers, meanwhile, are all in all databases, servers, and database objects in SQL Server. These include the following tables, constraints, stored procedures, views, columns, and data types. And Transact SQL identifiers must each have a unique name, are assigned when an object is created and are used to identify an object. If you don't understand, if there's any kind of if anything goes over your head, like what's its store procedures, what are waves, and what are other things, as I have mentioned, many terms I have said at this initial level. Don't worry, because we are going to anyway create them and execute them and view them and learn everything. All that at the moment, I would like you to know that. What is SQL, okay, and it has different versions, but we'll start from basic SQL and we will move it into the transact SQL, okay. Now, aim of these lectures or this lecture series is to focus around SQL Server, SQL Server, TSQL, Master TSQL, and gain extremely useful professional skills that will be useful while executing task as a data analyst or a data scientist. When I say transact SQL, well, we are going to learn SQL, but we will be moving towards TSQL because I will have I will be using Microsoft tools to actually show you how all this is done. Okay, and now SQL and TSQL. Starting from SQL, because there is, as I said, there's many things common in between two. But let's write and execute some queries so that you guys could understand, what all we are talking about. Okay, and to do so, we have to, I'm going to use Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio, and if you can also install the same, and then that will be wonderful. Now, first come first, I'm going to end this. So here is I have already opened my this how you call it, Microsoft SQL Server Management Tool. Okay, now I have here this is if you all you need to do is go on to internet and you can download it for free, and you can use it, as far as there is a, you know this tool you can install, and you can use it. But what I could also add, that for example, if you see AdventureWorks 2012 database, I have added here, okay, and you might not have it, and if you don't have it, what you need to do is download this AdventureWork 2014 from the internet. And if you face problems of, if you don't know how to install Microsoft SQL Server Management Tool, or how to get this database from internet, just let me know. Then I might be able to, I might then add some videos to this session. But if you have both, you simply go and install. There's nothing, you just go and install next, and get it done. Once you get it on your machine PC, then you might not have this adventure work 2014. And how you get it, as I said, you download it, and then you go onto this database, right click, and you say attach. And all you need to do is, for example, go say add here, and wherever that file is, you go and click on that file, the one which will be, maybe it will be back file. You attach, sorry, what you need to do, if it's going to be back file, all you go into database and you restore the database. Okay, if it's going to be .bak, and most probably it will be in like that. And then you go into device, and then from device you go here, okay, and you say it should be file here, and you say add. And you see, for example, I have this database here. So if you click on this and say okay, all the way okay, then once you say okay, it will take maybe a few seconds or minutes to actually restore, and it will come all here. Once this you have all this ready, once you have all this ready, then basically you will be, at a position where I am at the moment. And then what you can do to create a query against this database, it has a lot of tables, and we can do a lot of we can write a lot of queries against it, and if we need, we can add other databases, and we'll see how this course goes, and I will try to build up slow and steadily, and take you to the level where you will be master in writing the SQL queries. Okay. Now, so if you need to now write of your first query, I have written for a few queries so that I'm not going to waste time in writing. It's better to execute them, save some your time. So for example, if I have to execute query, here is new query. Okay, if I have to write new query, so I will click on here, and here is my new query window, and here is where I can write, for example, use. So I'm just saying which database to use. So as soon as I say A, so it's going to give me all my databases starting from A, and I can then click this one, uh, and this is what I say. Okay, use this database, and even have to write queries, and it's simply, I start writing. Okay, and this is the way you do it. But I have already written my queries, and once you finish your query, all you have to do is execute, and you can execute with F5, or you can go here and execute the query, and then we'll get the results. But I'm going to cancel this. Okay, I'm not going to save it because I have done some homework for all of you guys. So let's start it from there. So first query, where is my first query? So 2 3, so this is number 5. Let us move it to position number 5, and I think I need to open my first query from 6, so 7. Okay. So here is my first query. Okay. Now, what I'm basically saying, use my this database for this query, and then I'm just giving, this is the way how you give a comment in this query window, doubles, dash dash, and then basically what I'm just writing, that I'm selecting the first name and the last name columns from this table. Okay, and so here is this is the way how we write it. And if you see, for example, what from always is a table. So for example, add if I have to add some terminologies later on, we'll add those things. But at the moment, from means from which table I'm get. So I'm using this database, and I want to get these columns from this table. Okay, person dot person. So where is my person dot persons? And so here it is, person dot person. Okay, this is the table inside this database. If you see, if I can close it up, see, all is closing up. So this is my database. So inside that database, I have a lot of objects created. So I have already tables. So if you go inside the tables, and if you go inside person, so here is the person table. So what I'm just basically requesting from this query, that go into this table and get me these two columns. Okay, and if you see, if I open this, and if you go into columns, these are the names of the columns. If you see, there are many columns, and if you see, last name is the column and first name is the column. Basically, I'm requesting, give me this and give me this column, and whatever is there. Okay, and if I go and say, for example, I'm executing, so at the moment I'm showing you through my cursor mouse, and next time I might use the F5 on my keyboard. So if I execute it, first what it's saying is connect to this database engine. Okay, and of course, while installing, you will have these name, the server name, and whatever authentication you have used. So I'm going to say connect, and then here it is. Here you see the result. So if you see, basically this is my first name column, and this is my last name column. Okay, and if you have seen, you can see that I have returned 199 972 rows. So 19,000 and 972 rows are returned, and I have this database, and I have, okay, and this is showing other credentials, and this is showing the query executed successfully. If you are able to see all this, that's great. So that's good. So this is the way you write query. So you write the select statement as a keyword. We generally write it in capital. Keywords we generally write in capitals, and then we have name of columns and tables. We try to write maybe with camel case, or you can write maybe in lowercase. Depends on how your company is preferring. Every company might have a little bit different ways. I could actually write same query like this, and sorry, like this, and it will also work. So if you so if I execute it like this, still it's going to work. Yeah, but it's just the way some uh, like to separate keywords from the other column names and rest of the stuff. So basically this is the first way. So select, and after select you give the name of the columns and you separate them with commas, and then from, and basically you give the name of the table, and when the query ends, when you finish all, you give semicolon that shows that that's the end of the query, and that's it. So yeah, this is the result. And let's see now query number two. And now, for example, here same thing. I'm using my I'm giving command which database I'm using, because I might have more than one database. And then here I'm just selecting top five. As you have seen, we return number of rows, and maybe we don't need all rows, all observations. And then I'm asking top five, first name, last name, and that's basically rest is same. So what I'm saying, select top five and give me these two columns and from this table. And if I execute, for example, this time I use my F5. Sorry, it's disconnected. So, and if you see, it is now giving me top five, 1 2 3 4 5. And let's quickly see other queries. For example, here I am seeing top 5%. Okay, top 5% of my whole 1000 19,000, whatever it was, 900, I think 72, I don't remember exactly what was the total. But if you see here, for example, I can do again F5 on my keyboard. Uh, and here it is. Here you see, if you see now, I have 999 rows, 999 rows basically, and this gives me top 5% of all the rows. And basically, if you see, this is the query result. Okay. Excellent. And I will now execute query number 4. Do I have that open? I don't think I have that open, and I might need to open that query number 4. Let's quickly see what was my query number 4. Okay, the query number 4 is I'm selecting distinct title column from the same table. So if you see now, I have changed the column from this table. So I'm requesting now title. So if you see this person, and here is the title, and I'm just saying how many distinct titles I have in this database. So I can go again execute, which don't worry, if you are connected, you won't have this again and again. Don't worry about all this, because my computer has been idle for some time, as I have to do other things as well. Sometime I have to stop my video creation and then do some other bits and pieces. But here is another query, select distinct. This time these are two keywords, and then I give name of the column, and from which table, and again the semicolon means that's the end of the query. And if I kind of execute now this, and here you have, if you see, I have SR, MRS, then I have some null values, and then SRA, MS, and I have MS actually dot there, MRS dot, and then MS and MR Mister. So these are the different values. So I have 7 rows, and one of them is null value. And null values, we'll talk about them. Don't worry at the moment, but just understand that you can get distinct values of any particular column if you would like that. In certain queries you might need to see, for example, you have different products and different product names, and you would like to see how many different products you have, so you can give at that time this distinct with select and give the name of the column from the table, and it will give you that. So we use this, I'm just showing you at the moment title, but we can use this distinct in various queries which will give us useful information. So this is number 4, and let's use query number 5 now. And here, see, select if you want to select every column from this person dot person table, and all you have to do, select and give them star, and star basically means all columns. Okay, so every column from person dot person table returns all rows and mentioned from the mentioned table. And just please note, this query is not suitable for large data, large tables with a lot of observations, and you might be querying observations which have millions of rows, so it will take then some time, and will be wastage of resources. But at the moment, I'm just trying to show you, you have this option if you have some reasons to execute such a query. Although I don't promote this query, but still showing you. So if I execute, uh, and if you see now, here is, if you see, all the columns are here. See, business entry ID, person type, and there is the title. See, the one which we queried, and first names and middle names and last name and whatnot. Okay, and so this was our query number 5. And if we then move on to our query number 6, I don't think it's open, or it might be somewhere. If we quickly see if it is open on what it, just bring it quickly in front of us. So for example here, and now I'm not going to talk again and again regarding this use, which database I'm using. It's now understood. I have already given you about this. Now about aliases. Aliases are temporary names given to table or column for the purpose of a particular SQL query. It's used when name of the column or table is used other than their original names, but the modified name is only temporary. Okay, just remember that. And aliases are created to make table or column names more readable, and you will see in the coming queries, some good uses of it. And for example, here in this query, what I'm doing, select the first name as first name and the last name as last name. For example, I'm taking it off from the camel case, and giving a space between it and using it as a proper word. Okay, and then from this table, and what basically this will does, returns row but presents heading of the column as aliases. So for example, when I execute this query, I won't have column header as this, but as this. Okay, and remember to keep, if you are separating words or phrases, you have to quote them, you have to keep them in inverted commas, so that this becomes as a string. Okay, as a one string. Okay, now that's it. So basically you say first name as, so that as, you alias it, last name as, and you can do like that. And that's basically it is, in nothing special. So if I execute this query, and here it is, if you see, the query is here, but if you see, this first name is now separate as this and not as this, where actually in database, the name or the column header, the column name for this column is written as this, but I have now, in my execute, when I am executing a query, I do get result, column header as this. Okay, so that's what we call alias, and it's temporary. Okay, okay. And let's now you see query number 7. um, Yeah, this is my last query for this lecture. Basically, nothing special. I have written query which returns all columns basically, but restricting the percentage of the rows returned. For example, I showed you last time, you can say select all from, but then it gives you all 19,000 or maybe millions of rows, which tens of millions of rows which you might have in your database. But maybe you need to see all columns, and but you need to just check some samples and see maybe top some 100 or 50 or some a couple of hundred rows. So what you can say is select top 50%, and then you can get and then you can write basically all columns from this, and then if you execute this query, so here it is, and it's giving you 9,986 rows. So for example, here instead of writing, for example, 50, I can say give me 1% of all this, and then right click and execute. I'm showing you different ways how to execute from keyboard, from toolbar, and from mouse, right click. So if you see now, my rows have dropped. The result rows that I have received is only 200, and it's not you can even say 0.05, and it is happy to bring you only 100 rows, okay, in front of you. Or you can so these are the ways how you get data. Maybe you have to check what's inside the data, and then accordingly adjust your queries. Maybe you want to see, is there any null values in any column, which we also call as feature, and there are different names of these columns. If you are a data analyst, you might say in for example, columns, or if you are a data scientist, you might talk each feature as each column as a feature. Okay. We'll go slowly into those terminologies. Don't worry. I'm going to slow and steadily, do my best to share with you all the expertise that I have gained over years by executing SQL queries against various databases. And I hope this lecture has been useful. Uh, and if it has, please subscribe, and please connect to me. And if you haven't until now, please do so, and please hit the notification bell, and or whatever is required, so that you get notified as soon as I upload new videos. I hope to see all of you in my next video. Until then, I thank you all for watching Data Analytics Professional. Remember, sharing is caring, and I love that, and hope you too. With this, it's time to say goodbye for now until I come back in with another video. Take care. Bye bye.